Well, welcome to this lovely cold afternoon in North Yorkshire. Me and Joe have just been to a little plug here for Bivio, Hornbeam Park. Beautiful pizzas. I had one, Joe's had one, Sam's had half, and Mick's had four. And Jimmy's yet to be seen. So we're lucky, actually. We've got a couple of hours spare today, so we're going to crack on with, first of all, we're going to do some questions and answers. The lads said they've been putting things out and trying to get some. Sam's going to try and keep people coming now as we're on, and get some more questions. As always, we will answer every question as honestly as we can and not hold back. There's little things probably we have to be careful of. Confidentiality after the Wigan episode, I think, a couple of years ago. So, but we'll try and give us as good as we can get. So, Joe, over to you.
Yeah.
And let's crack on.
Yeah, I'll rattle down the questions. The full 80 minutes posted on Twitter. Any questions for the Postman? First one, a bit of a cracking one.
Mention who it is, Joe. So it's
what Pete Wood said. This is just a joke one to get us going. What's Mick's world record for saying Bradford in a full 80 minutes podcast?
It's a great question, Pete. So Pete has started off with, what is Mick's record? I would say Mick's record would be about 5 years ago when we used to go to a podcast in the college. And you're probably talking 40 to 50. And even when we talked about changing the show, Mick thought that we should go to total Bradford shows because it was getting all the thing off his Facebook. So yeah, 40 to 50 mentions. Mick holds the world record, and I think if we let him, Pete, we can probably beat the record. If they beat Cass this week in the Challenge Cup, I think Mick breaks that record on Monday. God help us all.
Next question from Dave. I'm going to miss out a few expletives. Is IMG causing the lower clubs to upgrade facilities, which is harming the performance on the field? I think by this he's saying smaller squads, contracts, pathways for youngsters, because clubs sign experienced ex-Super League top-end champ older players. That's from Dave Hames.
Dave Hames, right. Thank you, Dave, for the question. We'll try and get these out as quick as we can, actually, once we start filming, Sam can get this straight out. I would say, is it a deterrent on the lower clubs? You can have a go at this, Joe, as well. I would say IMG are brought in to try and upgrade, potentially, first of all, obviously, Super League, and probably 6 or 8 clubs who they think can get Super League. Whether they can make a difference to a non-ambition club. What I mean by that is a club who are happy being in Championship, happy being in Champ 1. I don't think that's going to take any difference at all. It's only going to be the clubs. Let's say you go Midlands, I've got a wealthy owner, they've got the facilities. Yes, they know what they've got to do. But if you look at Dewsbury and Batley, they don't want a good Super League. They can't, so they would have no. So I suppose it's quite, you'd look at the York, you'd probably look at an handful of clubs. Are they doing a great job at the moment doing that? Yes, they are. That's one thing I've got to give IMG. For all the faults and for all the, do we think they can get us? All this is supposed to be getting us a new TV deal. We're going to go on to that later when Jimmy comes. Derek Bone wants to put something in the press, and seemingly had a right pop at them in the Sky. I think there was Sky there, IMG there. There's been all the CEOs, all the director of footballs, and Deggsy's let rip. And I'm quite happy because it's a lot of the stuff that I put in the papers about 4 years ago, what we've been promoting on this show, saying if we say no to Sky, then they have to go pay-per-view and then they have to promote their own clubs. But we'll get into that later. So I'd say IMG are definitely a lot better. The clubs have definitely reacted. Instead of spending it on clubs or on players and this and that, they are having to do the grounds, the screens, the restaurant area, the academies. Would that lessen the quality?
Yeah. I think it does, but I think for the reason you're alluding, it shouldn't, Dave, to be honest with you. I don't think champ clubs, there's not many champ clubs over the last 5 to 10 years before IMG that have been interested in developing youth, creating them pathways. It's not really a champ league. What some League One clubs might give some young lads a chance, but not because they believe in youth, and this is the hard, it's because they're cheap and you can get them you can get them for pretty much nothing to come turn up and take a punt on themselves. I don't think it's affecting performance on the field that much because the league, a lot of them are still going to win the league. I think they're still trying year on year to get something past. Where if you get in the top 1 or 2, you're going to try getting to Super League. So they keep angling for that. So I think, as you've seen with Bradford, Featherstone, York, they're still spending big, and they're getting a couple of young players in. So no, I don't think it is affecting performance because of the youth pathways. I think they've always signed ex-Super League top-end champ players. And if anything, I think it's working the other way. I think they're signing more. I hope we've answered. I've understood your question correctly there. But
we also have a massive thing on young players getting a chance in the Championship. I don't think you give a young player 5-10 games in the Championship, they'll get used to it. They'll probably be better than their old player. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Our old Curry Club member, Steve Riley, you did the famous thing, the famous curry shop that you took me to back from America a couple of years ago, Dad. Steve, the Bradford fan, who wins this weekend? Bulls or Cass? And should Super League go to 14 teams? Get rid of Luke fixtures, obviously, on the back of that, which he says are boring.
Well, I want to go into the Challenge Cup things. We've got a special show after this, I think, during the Challenge Cup. So what's his first name, Joe?
Steve,
I think it's hell of a fixture. We'll detail it later. I think that, put it this way, there's never been a better time for the Bulls to play Cass after 2 pre-season friendlies and probably some questions being asked. Bulls haven't lost a game when they put the full side out, so you've got to say the bookies are going to be shoving Bradford up to the weekend, and everyone fancies an upset. Yeah. I think there's one for you, which I think if Cass can play the conditions, I have a feeling Bradford are going to play it through the middle. They're going to want it to be swamp. They want it to be cold. They want it to be all the things that'll upset a Super League player. I think if Cass can turn them round, get the kick chase going, I think they'll get him in second half. I think they'll just have enough legs. I think it's a very close game.
Okay. Adam Johnston, what is going on at Huddersfield? Just feels like a constant rebuild year after year.
What's his Adam
Johnson?
I keep doing that, so I should listen to what you first said. Actually, because I keep saying, what's your name? It's not the one. It's not Adam. Adam, yeah. I am as disappointed as you. I'm as concerned for Ken and the money he's put in as you. I don't know. I don't know that answer. I would say what happened at weekend, they were shell-shocked. Every year they say a new broom. They seem to have a lot of players being turned over, which doesn't help. They don't seem to be able to hold on to the best juniors at times. The twins being one of them, Dom Young, you look at that and you think, how different could that have been for a back five? It could have been something, sensational. I love the fact that Ken put a lot more money investment into the youth. The new setup at YMCA is unbelievable. Do I think Huddersfield will finish in the bottom 3? Yes. Do I think I think it's even worse than last year, yeah. I've got to be honest. I hope the lads shock me. I've got some great players there who I think the world of. I've always had a lot of time for Huddersfield. I think they do everything the real way. Rich Thuler's big friend of mine, always did it straight. Whether you like Rich or not, whether you think Richard's done an absolutely shit job, a good job, you were always honest, you were always straight, and that's all I ever asked. I think they've had 7 coaches, Joe. I just think that can't help, can it? It can't help. Every 2 years they change coaches. You look at it from, what we're talking from Nathan, Paul Anderson, Stones, Germ. Then last year they had Watson was the beginning. I'm looking at you and sometimes you were trying to think of that, Joe. You couldn't get it. Ian Watson was the greatest thing to happen to Huddersfield, the coming of the best coach in the country, and they pay him out and he's last 22 months. So I don't know. There's obviously deeper problems than we can iron out here. I think it's another year where they're going to have to be up against it. When that happens historically in sport, what do? You probably have to promote from within, as in the academy, and then clean sweep. But my God, the contracts will be paid out there if they don't do it this year. Somebody's paying out 800,000 in payoffs. if you wanted to do it. Man United, they reckon Man United now, if you look what they're doing, they can't get it right. And the reason is they can't clean sweep. He's just trying now. He's got Bradford out. He's got the young winger out. He's got Italy. They're starting to do what they should have done 5 years ago. They should have made these calls. That's what it needs. It needs some strong calls. Jimmy, get a seat. Son, Jimmy's just arrived. He's been beat.
We'll have to adjust all the things.
Oh, sorry.
Jim, you're back
Just wait 2 seconds. Jimmy's been beat at paddle for the 4th time this week. Go on, John.
What prop should Cass target, or are you aware of any? And that's from Thomas.
Thomas, yes, they are looking to bring somebody in the next 2 weeks. They've made 3 offers to players I know of, 2 of them being ours. They didn't get them over the line. Jack Brown, one of them. George King, 2. So they are trying. It gets harder for Cass to attract that type of player because he gets other offers and he's thinking, do I fancy Eric bottom 4 or do I fancy, you'd say George King might have made the same decision either way now, but look at this, unless George can come into Huddersfield and galvanise them. And I mean, Rich Thulis, back to the Huddersfield one, Rich Thulis did say they had no halves. And we've just had some breaking news. Danny Richardson's gone on loan there. Joe, you said that as we speak. I don't know how much help that'll do, I think, but getting George back in there, something like that, and getting some real good culture people in, they'll definitely give it a go. But Cass are trying. I've been on phone to Danny Maggs this morning. I'm pleased he's talking to me again. We didn't talk for 4 days because of last week's show, so I'm still recovering myself from Danny's rollicking down the phone saying how hard he's working, and he thought I questioned that, and I would never question it. I would never question that. Well, I would, but I'd say it to his face, but I'd say on here. So we met up this morning. I told him I loved him as a friend, and they're trying. I just think they're going to find it hard I know they're talking today to another prop, and it's hard because, just to give you a quick answer on this, the quota spots are took.
Yeah. So
you can't just do a wakey who seem to have more quota spots than anybody. Steve seems to pull them out of his arse, doesn't he? So you're looking at what wakey do, and they bring an Australian in every 3 weeks. And they get rid of one, and I don't know if Cass have been too loyal. I don't know if Cass, but to use all your quota and then not have any place. The only place you can get non-quota here is French players. That's a clue I think they're after. But there's not really no English props available unless they go and pay 50,000 for a championship top prop, which means a fee. Why would Featherstone and the top 4 clubs release one of their top props? They won't do it without a big fee. So Cass are going to struggle to get anybody in. I'll tell you now. They're working the socks off. I know because I had Danny Wilson on at 10 to 10 last night. And I spoke to Mags this morning, and they said that they'd met 2 players last week and they're meeting a couple of players this week.
Great. You'll like this one. It's if you was in charge of the international game, what would you do to make it good again? That's on Spike. I've been wanting to get this job for 7 years. There's still chances. I think Darryl Powell, only coach who said to me if he got the job, I would be his team manager. Ultimately, job he did at Warrington made sure we didn't get the fucking job. So that's a laugh, Darryl. I know you still got an hangover about that. What would I do? I once asked Brian Mack this question, and Mack said to me, first thing I'd do, Tops, is fly the full squad to a schedule, fly them out like over Scotland and just drop them all out of the parachute. Give them an address and let's see who gets back. And he said, whoever gets back, I'll pick for the team. I need survivors. I need people who know what, I'm like, wow, I can't see some of the tricky players I've seen of it. What would I do different? I would 100% try and promote. Would I bring the Aussies over on the numbers that they do? That'd be a big question for me. And I'd have to speak to my coaches, and you'd speak to you and as team manager and say, what ruling do we do here? Do we bring 8 players over here? Do we know the form they're in? Let's just say there's 6, I think, UK players, or 5 at the moment. Let's say, I think Ryan Sutton, Dom Young, obviously Dodsey, Herbie Farnworth, and we've got one more, which Victor the Flicker. So we've got 5 there. Do you put them in? I don't know. That'd be a really good question for me coaches. Is Victor that much better than what we've got at loose? He certainly wasn't when we had Show or Lockley. Maybe, I don't know. Cam Smith, Ben
Ben Curry, would I think he's he's got a different game to them? I'd be tempted, but then you look at Irby and you're thinking he's definitely a league above. Without being rude to our centres, he's definitely above it. But I'd definitely, that'd be my first question. My second question would be the pride back in that shirt. I don't think we've had a recognisable shirt for 25 years. I'm still thinking, when anybody says England to me or GB, I think of the British goal shirt, whatever it was. I still do. I don't know why. I've never seen. That's a Shane said that this year's is going to be unbelievable. There's an identity to it, and they're going to put loads more money into this 3 series. They're going to really promote the merchandise. And I thought last year they did a bit better, actually. The ones that they wore last year, I'd get that. I'd certainly get. How do we capture anybody's imagination? How do we capture everybody in the UK's imagination to get people to believe that we're, beat the Aussies? That's the only thing we can do, is to give them hell when they come. And I think we've got to talk that up. I said this to the guy who's organising it all this year. I said, we've got to talk it up from now. We've got to be confrontational from now. We've got to give it. Do you play the interesting one for me? Who's your box office players going into Test match? If you really wanted to beat the Aussies, you have to pick a certain type of player to beat the Aussies, in my opinion. That always sometimes doesn't mean you're picking the best player. You're just picking who can rise to that occasion. And in front of 100,000 at Wembley or 70,000 at Goodison Park, what it's going to be called, or thing is because that's what other sports do.
Yeah.
They'll pick players who can do that against somebody who's probably better in Super League or NRL. So let's say Mikey Lewis. You've got Mikey Lewis, Harry Smith, George Williams. I'm playing Mikey every day at week in a cauldron like that, and you cannot afford not to start Mikey, because he'll tell them Aussies he's better than every one of them. The shit, I spoke to him last night about the York fixture. I said, it's great that they've welcomed back Mikey. And I can't tell you what he said, but I'm not be saying that when I score. Bang. That's just the way he's built in his way. So I would have I type my characters for England on that type of character. Have we got, is Jake Connor from the nest? Can we have Jake around squad? I'm trying to think of them type of characters we want. I think that's how you beat the Aussies. I can remember when we beat them at cricket. It was the one year I watched it. Both of them took them apart when I was a kid. Both of them was a bigger character than they'd never seen. An Englishman, they were hitting sixes and going, catch that, you Aussie pass. He was totally aggressive. The last time I saw that were Peterson, Flintoff, when we destroyed him for 5 years. They totally they were proper giving him it at every angle. They don't respect us Australians, honestly. You speak to anybody, fans, any sport, they just say, they've got nothing for us. I'd pick a full squad of people. Anybody who didn't believe they could beat him, gone. Wellesby's got a bit of shit in him, hasn't he? You'd say Jack's up for that. You'd be like, yeah, I like him. But I'd certainly based it on character. It'd be on my staff would be that. Wayne's got enough character. Let the gloves off Sean. We haven't seen that side here. It needs to be all the staff need to be absolutely in for this.
Yeah.
So I'd change my staff. I don't think we've seen a full team of staff where I've gone, oh my God. You imagine being it changing. I'd text Sam up there. 100%. Not even a question. Sam Burgess would be bang. And I'd look for another 2 Sams. I think Morley's probably a bit too old, but that type, you know what I'm saying? Maybe James Graham coming over and saying, listen, you've got to go around that change rooms believing everybody, physio, doctor, we're going to beat these. And I think if they do that, the fans will start to believe. But they've also got to do that much marketing on social media, Joe, like you won't believe. It needs to start now. And it needs to pick that squad. There's no worse than going to a fixture on any sport when you look at squads and you think the shit. Honestly, it's depressing. When you go there and you think, am I going to be excited by him? Not really. So that'd be my thing on it. Hope that answers it.
We'll just do 2 more then. Why do Warrington keep underachieving? That's from Bill, similar to the Huddersfield one.
Bill got a second name or just Bill?
Yeah, just Bill.
I went to watch Warrington on Saturday night. Atmosphere fantastic. League took 2,500. I mean, Toby King must have some connection in league, because to turn out it's the biggest away crowd for a testimonial for about 10 years, to say.
Oh, wow.
Simon Moran and Carl Fitz said that's like a normal That game, that's crazy. That's a league game, how many they brought. The atmosphere were electric. Both teams attacked. Unbelievable. Both defended pretty poor. Would that be my answer? Yeah, probably. I think Warrington can play football for the last 50 years with anybody, the most exciting teams. If you said who's your most exciting team in Super League for the last 15 years, Warrington will be in top 3 every week. If you said who's the best defenders who's got the best defence in Super League, I don't know how many years you put Warrington in. Stats might tell you different, but I would say Wigan would be in there. I think OKR would be in there last 2 years, probably this year and all. So I think it's a boring thing to say, but defences win titles. I think that's probably your answer. Warrington would have to change probably a lot of mentality. They've got the best fullback attacking in the league. He was sensational. He ain't going to defend. He ain't going to defend on his goal line, 15 tries. So they've got players who I see being that. And do you know what? Is it a bit like watching some teams and, what's the football team where they say, yeah, but we're the entertainers? So I think of the football team when they didn't win all, but everyone says, oh, they're brilliant to watch. Yeah, maybe Newcastle and Kevin Keegan, that, and everybody couldn't wait to get to ground. So you say, is that a success? It was. It's the best 5-year period of Newcastle life. And all the fans will never forget it. Keegan was the Messiah who nearly beat Man U. I don't think that many people were bothered saying, well, they didn't win it. I don't think that's... People sometimes say... So my answer is Warrington have had some unbelievable years where they've played stuff that you can't believe. I go to watch Warrington. No, I'm going to watch some real good quality, high skilled rugby. I don't know if they can win. They can win when they're boring.
And then we'll just call it the last one. Leopards United. So you probably have a clue what this is going to be about. Any opinion on Leigh's signings? Will they miss a 6? Where will they finish?
Good question. Top 6, 7th. They were unbelievable on Saturday. Their attack is, honestly, dead same again. The fullback, Chesney thinks he's better than and faster than any other.
David Armstrong, is it?
Chesney is the best overseas recruiter in the country. Has been for 8 years. If you look at some signings at Wakey, what he's done at Leigh, it's unbelievable. He thinks this kid on a dry track is faster than Bevan and Jai. And faster than Sailor, which I challenged him on, but he said, you wait till you see it. He showed a couple of glimpses. Him and Lammy are going to cause honestly, they're going to cause hell on, because Lammy goes into the line and he's going to pick him out and he's going to be... I think they're definitely... I'm going to take a bigger gamble. We've got an ins and out thing, but I'm going to put Leigh in 4. I saw Derek Bounton. I had about 8 pints, I think, but Dempsey were bouncing off the walls. Yeah, and he just could not believe the signings. He goes, mate, you've got to see him in training. You've got to... Because we've got what Chesney's done this year to the fans. He's put about 6 or 8 youngsters like AJ Toust, who he knows can fill in, and there's not that much of a loss. He said, I've got enough cover in every position this year. They fancy a 4. There you go.
We'll end it there then.
Thank you very much. Hope they answered your 9 or 10 questions. Enjoyed that, and we'll do that every week. Sam, a little segment so the fans feel part of it. Thank you very much.